Oh my god, I'm not out there in the universe anymore fighting intergalactic lizards. I'm actually deep in the bowels of historic downtown St. John's, hosting this show that you all love called In the Library of Graphic Literature with your host, me, Wallace Ryan. Unfortunately, Luna isn't here today, but she will be here in spirit because I'm going to show you two books that, oh, hang on a sec, I thought I had right next to me, that she got me for my birthday, because today is my birthday. Hey, happy birthday, Wallace! Hey, thank you. It's actually my late dad's birthday too, that's why I was named Wallace after him. And I think actually one of the viewers same birthday. Anyway, so we out and about, both got haircuts, and picked up first of all this Miyazaki's Shuna's Journey, which looked really cool, and I'd seen someone posting about it sometime the past couple of weeks, and I had been thinking about it, funny enough, and we're downtown seeing in the store, and it was just like, okay, and I'll show you the second one we got from another place, but yeah, I like the artwork. Oh, hang on a second, I gotta get this, it's all in the way there, sorry about that. The artwork is kind of neat. I'm assuming, because I haven't seen anywhere else, I'm assuming it is Miyazaki drawing. But yeah, it's a cool little story. I like the simplicity of the art, and the whole story. Even I'm not finished it yet, but the whole story does have the feeling of of one of his films for sure. There's definitely it reeks Miyazaki. So that was a great present. But then we went to a local mall, and in the graphic novel section we found from the National Book Award winning team of March, Run, from John Lewis, Andrew Aiden, L. Fury, and Nate Powell. And this is, as it says on the back here, let's see, sequel to March. Run recounts the lost history of what too often follows dramatic change. I won't go more than reading that, because I don't want to give away too much. But March, very important book, and I do believe he was the only Lewis was the only congressperson, senator, whatever, to win an Eisner Award, which is cool. But I like the drawing style. It's funny. In the 10 books I'm going to look at tonight, you're going to see something of this style or whatever repeated. Maybe it's the type of books I like, that type of stuff. But it's very nicely done. Love the cover. And this is book 1. Okay. Now the other 10 books. The other 10 books come from my graphic novel section, which is over in that corner. Right here is the comic strips. Then there's Marvel and DC, Dark Horse, and everyone else, and then graphic novels in that corner. So I actually have a desk that I'm back onto it there, and so I turned around the other night and I thought, I'll do a top 10 of sort of my favorite. Well, it's a mixture of favorite books from it, but also where it was my birthday. It was just like, well, what would be some kind of cool books to get on your birthday if you had to choose from this shelf? All right, so it's like this shelf was my store. So 10 books that'd be cool to get for a birthday, like those other 2 cool ones I got. Okay, number 10. This is Windsor Mckay's Dream Days. Dun, 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 dun. This is a mixture of some of Mckay's different comic strips, including some Rarebit Fiend. Let's see here. Midsummer Days Daydream. So yeah, it's a sort of a nice mixture. Now the reproduction on it isn't, shall we say, Autumn Daydreams. aren't isn't top notch, but still, I had to have it because I'm a big fan of Windsor Mckay. All right, our own dream books. Some of these are okay, but even just to have it, to be able to even read it, A Pilgrim's Progress. But yeah, but the other best thing about this, and the reason that I picked this, was that I bought this off the artist Joe Met, and he was kind enough to stick a little cartoon on the inside front cover for me. So from the library of Joe Met, I just hope people keep it in mint condition. Well, trust me, Joe, it has a good home here. And for those of you unfamiliar with Joe, go to your local comic book shop and buy some of his books. Okay. And amazing cartoons, by the way. One of the best. Now, number nine is from Noelle Stevenson, Nimona. No, yay, Nimona! I came across Nimona when Noelle was still was serializing it online and all that, and I only read so far before I realized that, hey, why am I just reading page to page? This book has got to be published. Someone is going to publish this, so I'm going to wait until it comes out. Sure enough, it did come out, and people, of course, loved it as much as I do. It's funny. It's just bloody amazing. If there's a great little graphic novel that you can give to someone, this is really it. I love the art style, but the story is just bloody amazing. I mean, this is comics. Noelle Stevenson, you did an amazing bloody job with this. And Nimona, I mean, you fall in love with her. She makes you laugh. She makes you cry. And towards the end, she even makes you a little bit scared of her. So it's a great book. You got to buy it. Now, let's move on to, and I wanted a sort of a nice mixture of books too. When I picked from it, it was just like, I'm going to pick, and I almost picked like, okay, if these were books, maybe I'll take on vacations or something. So I wanted a nice variety. And this one is King. This is from Fantagraphics, and it's by my good friend Ho Chi Anderson. It's a comics biography of Martin Luther King. It's beautifully written, the art. And I mean, I can remember when I came across this, when it first came out and all that, it was just like, wow, this guy's bloody amazing. And so, I mean, he does amazing black and white art, which a lot of people don't realize how difficult it is. And then his color stuff here, it's just, I love the color sections here. It is bloody amazing. So yeah, actually he had something out recently. Godhead 2 came out recently, so I picked that up too while you're at it. But this is King. And I mean, this, I can remember when it first came out. I mean, we all knew about it too. It's I mean, it was huge, especially for Canadian comics. But the other cool thing about this, of course, is where is it? Oh, hang on a sec. Da-da-da-da. Got it autographed. No. So yeah, definitely buy that. Okay, now next up comes a comic that I love from the first time I seen it come out as a Marvel graphic novel, and that is Star Slammers. Yay! Star Slammers. It was bloody cool. It was. They were talking about, these are the world's greatest mercenaries. They can outgun, outshoot, outkill everyone, and they were mercenaries. And it's a complicated story, but still comes out pretty cool. And what I love is that in the very first part where there's they've been hired out by these people to save them from someone who's got them surrounded, and how they, they're woken up by their enemies being blown to bits. Loving the panel work there. And then in the end, it's only three of them that did it. So I mean, they're considered like the greatest fighters in the galaxy. There was always one scene in this where they're trying to unite as a single mind, and because they all have that ability. And in this scene here, I like this how they're trying to activate it, and it's getting harder and harder until finally she dives in, and then next scene they just like that we wake up singing and crying, and I love this panel here where suddenly now they're all mentally hooked into each other, and they just start blowing the other guys out of the sky one after another. An amazing tale, so worth getting. And then after that there was I think that was the thing, but there was a series from, I think it was Malibu, of the Star Slammers, which of course I bought that too because I'm a huge fan of Walt Simonson. Simonson is an amazing artist, but even more so, he's an amazing storyteller. So this one, it's one you gotta have in your collection. Amazing series. Influences me still to this day. Even when I was looking at it, picking through it, I had to paw through it, right? Now this one here, sometimes you'll see you'll see bookmarks in them. So this one actually, I always thought I'd finish this one, but this one, and actually I was almost going to take 2 or 3 from this series and have them as a tie, but I looked through them and I picked out the best. But any of these actually are good. They're a treasury of, and this I think there was 2 of these, and then a treasury of Victorian murder, and then there's the 20th century murder. Anyway, they're by Rick Gary. This is from, I always got to look at that, NBM, and these are, they usually put them out in little books first of all, and these are compilations of them. So I do have some of these. 2 out of the 3 of these I have when I bought them in the single versions, but when they started to come out with the collected ones, it was just like, well, shag that, I don't get the collected ones. And this one is a great one. This one has Jack the Ripper, Fatal Bullet, which is the assassination of President James Garfield, and The Beast of Chicago about H.H. Holmes. And the cool thing about Rick Gary's artwork, I mean, what I love about these is the way he goes about it, like introducing characters and even stuff like that, and even showing the scenes, maps of where things take place and stuff like that. Quite detailed. The one he did of Lizzie Borden was great. It was really cool. It was because it went into such great detail in terms of what happened in the house, and he had such detailed drawings of that. But yeah, these are so worth getting. They're highly entertaining. Here's one here now. I love these little maps that he does for the story, so it gives you an idea of where it's taking place and that. And he has a style that's disarming, and so in some ways it makes it even more ghastly and grim. But yeah, any of the Rick Gary books, I'm a huge fan of his stuff anyway. So I buy anything I see with his name on it. I usually buy anyway. But this series there are 2 books. I got 2 books like that, and then there's a 20th century one, and that one, bloody cool. Now, of course, with that, I mean, I guess I had it with King, but and Run. Actually, I guess this is from before. I guess there is a bit of politics sneaking into. Actually, come to think of it, there is so much in the ones to come. Anyway, this is one of my favorite books by Joe Sacco. It's called Palestine, and regardless of where people stand on the issue of the Middle East, you should read this book, and it'll either give you maybe hope for the Middle East, or you'll feel that the whole thing is doomed and never going to resolve itself. But the art is amazing. The stories. He goes. What I like, he goes through a history of the area, and he basically visits the place too, and he hangs out with people. He really lives there for a while, and I think he really does absorb something of the local culture and all that, and people seem to really want to talk to him, and it's just an amazing book. I think this it won some sort of National Book Prize or something at the time, but yeah, so worth buying. I can't see good enough stuff. Well, about all his stuff. I love anything by Joe Sacco, so I could have had that tied with many of them. Now this what I have here is actually one of the oldest. Yeah, actually, it's probably one of the oldest books. Probably the second oldest book. Now that I think about it, I do have one other book that's probably older in the collection in terms of stuff that I've had a long time. And this I had because I bought it at the time. And what was it? Well, I think it was 82. Yeah, I think it was 1982. This is Raymond Briggs' When the Wind Blows. Dun, 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 dun. And I absolutely love this. I bought it when I was in Toronto, living in Toronto. I went to the Ontario College of Art, and that's where I came across this. And it's an amazing book. It was done as a film too. But I mean, you fall in love with the two characters, and as they're going along talking and all that. And meanwhile, every couple of pages, there's these shadowy drawings of all the militaries around the world getting ready, and then next thing, boom, off go the bombs. And I love this too. These 2 pages, amazing. That, blimey. And of course, then they figure, okay, their power is out and everything like that, and they set up a little shelter for themselves, and and it seems that it's kind of a quaint little story, and it goes on. But then, of course, the more and more it goes on, they start to lose their hair, they get sicker and sicker, and it's quite dramatic. They just end up. Well, you can imagine. It ain't a happy ending to the story, but it's a heartfelt story, and it was, especially at the time. I mean, this is classic Cold War comics, and I mean we all thought that we were 20 minutes away from complete annihilation. So, and anyone over the age of, I don't know, 50, I guess, or 40 knows what I'm talking about, right? Anyway, 40 and over. So we're getting close down to the bottom of our little stack here. And at number 3 here, we have the P. Craig Russell Library of Opera Adaptations, Volume 2 from NBM. This second one here from NBM. And he had quite a few books put out by a lot of people over the years and different publishers. But and I have quite a few of his books. I mean, there's even the Graveyard book, which maybe I would have picked normally over this. But the reason I did pick this is because it contains one of his earlier works. To my mind, one of his earliest opuses, which was the Parsifal, which came out from Star Reach as a one-shot many years ago, and I fell in love with that book. It was just something so cool. I mean, I had been a fan of P. Craig Russell stuff from Killraven and all that, but there was just something about it. It was just the opera. It was like it showed a whole new world of possibilities for comics. Comics could use to do opera. Anyway, I love every one of these, but out of all of them, this is probably one of my favorite, and it is because of the Percival more than anything else. Not to say there's nothing wrong with the others, because the others are just as amazing. Okay, and at number 2, and why not? And this is from Pantheon. Asterios Polyp, Dave Mazzucchelli's classic graphic novel. Who is Asterios Polyp? Architect, professor, author, husband. But that was all in the past. Now as he marks half a century, he's become a shadow of his former self. But it's a stormy night, and a lightning bolt is about to set him on a fateful journey. Kind of like I feel most days. Anyway, amazing. This is one you could really chew on. This is the first printing too. When I bought this book, I was a huge fan of Mazzucchelli's from Born Again and especially Year One. But then this came out and I was just like, I should pick this up. And I read it and it was just like amazing. And it's not only the story, but the artwork, because the artwork is radically different from all his other stuff. But also it was his use of color throughout the whole thing that makes this just also amazing. And I could explain it to you, but you'd really have to read it to really get why the color schemes are done. I mean, the color coded in a lot of ways for a lot of scenes and stuff like that. And you get a color rhythm going throughout the whole comic. But it's so worth buying. Asterios Polyp is one of the great American graphic novels. People always talk about it, writing the great American novel or whatever. This is the great American graphic novel. And I know there's going to be a lot more over the years. I mean, I'll put this up there with Palomar, which I consider a graphic novel in and of itself. Anything by Gaiman or Alan Moore. Absolutely stunning piece of work. Whew! That being said, we're going to close off now with the number 1 choice for my top 10 favorite comics from behind my desk that I would like to be given as my birthday. And the number 1, and I had this in soft cover, but then came an opportunity to get it in a hardcover, which was High Society, the Regency edition. Ding, 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 ding. This is, of course, High Society by Dave Sim. And it's the entire thing from the phone book, but in a beautiful, beautiful hardcover. I would actually love to see them do, the whole series really in hardcover. But definitely at least the first 4 volumes. Now this, I was so lucky to get a hold of this. This was made possible actually by Dennis Osborne. It's signed, which is cool. It's signed, and it was a numbered edition. It was 72 out of 195. So I mean, come on, you can't get any more. You can't get rarer than that these days. And this High Society, it was. I'd come late to Cerebus at the time. I first discovered it once again, like When the Wind Blows. I discovered Cerebus when I went to art school in Toronto, the Ontario College of Art. It was a great time, and the boys, of course, everyone was talking about this comic Cerebus, and I used to see it in the Silver Snail and the Dragon Lady, and a buddy of mine, he worked at the Dragon Lady. He was from actually Newfoundland too, and he kept saying to me, you should buy this, Wallace. I think you'd really like it. You should buy this. And finally, I did buy it, and I loved it. It was politics, it was aardvarks, it was comedy. It was unlike anything I had read before, and of course, it was Canadian too. So, and I just loved them. I mean, each issue was to me was just a whole new thing. It was just it was a revelation, and this was the example of what the future of comics was to me. It was individual artists putting out their own books, and he did it. Regardless of whatever people think about him and all that, this is a work of pure genius. To me, it's probably the best part of the Cerebus run, really, in a lot of ways. And I love Church and State too, and I loved actually the early ones of it. But this is still got a place in my heart. And this came with all kinds of neat stuff, like a sketch pad, a pen with it all, nice little thing on the back. So very nice production. So Dave, if you're out there, put out more. Anyway, that's it. It's my birthday, so I want to go and have some tea and crumpets and have fun. You like my new haircut? Anyway, I'll see you folks next week. Hopefully, and Luna will be back then. And I'm hoping to have, well, I got 2 new books anyway to share with you. And hopefully maybe a couple more. That being said, thanks for having me over. Oh, and I'm going to boom tube it on out of here. Oh yes, and check out our Thursday comics. Oh my God, the pull on this.